Bare and Complete with Lauren Fairchild. 100% acceptance and empowerment for women. Welcome to this episode of Bare and Complete. This episode is part of a trio within the Bare and Complete channel where I actually am talking about emotions, specifically fear, anger, and sadness. And the reason I'm doing this is because these three emotions can really cause a separation within our identity if we shun them away. But these emotions are human emotions, they're natural, and they actually play an important part of us being whole and complete, as well as having full acceptance and empowerment for ourselves. So in the last episode, I actually started this trio of episodes and we talked all around fear. So feel free, if you haven't listened to that episode yet, to stick with this one first. You can watch them in any order, but I would encourage you to go back and check that episode out after this one. In today's episode, we're going to be talking all about the emotion of anger. And this is a really interesting one, especially for me personally, because I actually used to have a very dysfunctional relationship with anger. And really, my relationship with anger was all around this perception that I wasn't allowed to have anger. I wasn't allowed to be angry. I wasn't allowed to be frustrated. I wasn't allowed to lose my temper or be snappy or lose my cool or anything like that. And the reason or the belief running underneath that was because I thought if I was angry, then I was a bad person, that I was evil, that I would have anger problems. What would that mean about me? No one would want to be friends with me or hang out with me if I was an angry person. So I created this real fear around anger. And I honestly felt like anger was something that should be shunned, and I needed to deny anger in my whole system. And if I ever did have examples where I was angry, of course, I was bottling up all this anger without even realizing it. And then I would have bursts of anger, and then I would feel so much shame and guilt around this anger. Who am I? That's not me. I don't identify with that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just blew up at that person. And it's really interesting because we live our whole life through perception, and I'm sure my friends and family would never even know that I had this relationship with anger. Probably to them, I may have been angry all the time, or I may have had a short temper, maybe not. But for me, I really wanted to hold on to this belief that I'm not allowed to be angry and I don't have anger. And another reason underlying this pattern or this belief system was that I needed to be perfect, that I needed to always have it together, that I always needed to be in control. And if I was angry or got frustrated or showed my anger, then that means that my identity was shattered, that I wasn't perfect, that I wasn't in control. And that means as well that I had this real identity shift if that happened. And of course, I'm a human being. So anger is a natural human emotion. And it's not a bad emotion, as we're going to uncover today. We're going to dive into this world of anger and really see what it is for its true nature and what its purpose is. Because for me, I was using anger as a way to really push away a part of my human side, a part of my human emotion, and really disconnect from that part of me and be really disconnected to anger, thinking that it would make me a bad person. So what that does is it separates me. And you might have a different experience with anger, and I encourage you to explore what your relationship with anger is, and I'll give you some tools later on so you can dive into that. But what I realized after doing this beautiful work and really reconnecting to anger and allowing myself permission to really have anger within my world and understand that it's part of me and it's a human emotion, what I discovered is that anger serves a really important purpose. Anger isn't bad at all. Anger is actually there as a tool and an emotion for us to know when our boundaries have been crossed, when our values have been crossed, when there's misalignment with the situation and with our true beliefs in our highest self and in our own being. So every single one of us has a set of values and we have a set of beliefs. And those values are generally really ingrained in us, in our DNA, ingrained in our personalities, ingrained in our actions, how we act, how we behave. And realistically, when we have anger or frustration, which is a subset of anger, then that is generally a sign that there is misalignment, that one of our personal values has been crossed. And that is okay if that happens. We're just being alerted to it. So we can then process the anger, and it can be, digested and processed within our system. It serves its purpose and it can be released. And when it is healthily processed and we have balanced emotions of anger, that anger and that energy of anger then doesn't get stuck in our bodies. Because when any emotion gets stuck in your body or pushed down or denied or not allowed to be there or not allowed to be processed, or you're not allowed to be angry, maybe you're a child and you were told, stop being angry, stop talking back, stop fighting, any of those things, you then learn that anger is bad. And this doesn't have to be just from your parents. It can be from at school or in your friendship group or anything like that, where you push down your anger because you believe that it's not okay to be angry. So there's many examples in your life that may have actually been interpreted in that way. It's not safe for me to be angry. I get in trouble if I'm angry. I'm not allowed to be angry. So you push it down. And we create meanings around that, just as I did. It made me a bad person, a bad girl if I would be angry. I wouldn't be perfect. I wouldn't have it all together then. People would know that, oh my gosh, Lauren is angry. We create meanings and labels and attach it to those things based on those experiences. But when we're able to process the anger, we're then able to actually realize that anger is a beautiful emotion that is an alert system, really. When we feel anger, we know, okay, well, what's misaligned to us? And we can check it out with curiosity. We can process the anger. And anger is a fully charged, also can be a fully charged survival instinct too. For example, if someone is gonna, it might be someone is driving and they hit into your car, you might get angry. And you might get angry because they actually put you in danger. And it's okay to be angry and have an anger response if you're in danger. I'm not saying you should go and yell at them. You process the anger. The anger is telling you something. The anger is telling you that someone threatened you, that you feel threatened, that you're in danger. Then as an adult, you're able to actually assess the situation correctly. You don't have to come across angry, or with anger, you can be assertive, you can be kind, even in that example, and swap details, etc. So anger is, though, an important emotion if we're feeling threatened or in danger. And if you're a parent as well, if you're a mum and someone, does something to your kid or puts your kid in danger, of course you're going to get angry and, protect your child. And people also, even if you're not a mum, you do that for yourself or your friends or family as well. So anger does have a place as well in order to keep you safe and your family safe if you're threatened. So the problem with anger is when we don't process it, or when we have these stories connected to it, like I did, where being angry means I'm bad, being angry means I'm people aren't going to like me and they're going to not want to hang out with me, or they're going to see that I'm not perfect, or whatever it might be. So it's really about detaching all of the bullshit and the stories that you have connected with anger, so that you can see anger as a welcome emotion that is trying to tell you something and communicate something to you in your environment, and then you can process it. And there's really fun ways to process anger, because anger is really, as I said before, it's like a supercharged energy. So it can get stuck in your body. You feel anger in your body, right? So you can do things like stamp your feet to get the energy out, or really like shake your hands, or scream even. And processing anger can actually be, dare I say it, fun. It can actually be fun to get that anger out of your system. The anger is an important emotion, and it's a welcome emotion, and then you can process it. Once it's given you the information you need, you can also process it through breathing and things like that. Or really moving your body or screaming and really getting that energy out. And this is also a very good way to get chronic anger out of your system that may have been stuck there. So one of the tools you can use to see where you're at with anger is to literally imagine, if you can, or if you're open to, imagine that anger, that there's a person in front of you, and that's anger, the emotion of anger. And have a conversation with them and actually talk openly and honestly, an imaginary conversation. We all had big imaginations when we were little, and I'm sure you can call on your imagination now. And, close your eyes if you want, or keep them open, and just imagine there's a person in front of you and it's anger. And really ask them about your relationship. And say, how do you find our relationship? See what they say. Imagining it, daydreaming it. It's very powerful tools and techniques. Sounds a bit silly to some people, but let me tell you, it's transformative. Find out where you're at with anger. Ask anger, do I deny you? Does it say yes or no? Ask them about your relationship. How do you think I treat you? Do you think I push you away? Do you think I abuse you? We can abuse emotions. We're turning away or rejecting an emotion. If we're pushing them away, that's abusing them, that's abandoning them. So talk to the anger to find out where you're at with your anger. And then you can get to a point where you ask anger and say, like, what is your purpose here? What do you want to share with me? And let them share with you the wisdom of the anger, why they come to you, why it comes, why it's there. And you can even ask it if it's stuck in your system and how it would like to be released. And honestly, I promise you, your imagination is so powerful. This actually does allow you to have reprogramming in your subconscious mind through doing tools and things like this. And you'll feel it release from your body. You may feel nothing, but you may actually get to a point where you feel at ease and feel any of the past chronic anger that's been stuck in your system actually release. And when you finish your conversation, just as you would with a friend, thank it and really acknowledge the anger and say that you welcome it in the future, knowing that it's there to show you when there is misalignment or threat in your system or in your environment. And this is a beautiful first step for you to have a new relationship with anger. And anger gets a bad reputation. It's time that we show it some love and nourishment and where we're actually coming from. And let me know in the comments how you go. It's really profound. And when we do this, the purpose of this is because when we deny anger or we push it down or we think it's bad, we cause a separation within ourselves, a separation within our identity. We're denying a human emotion that is natural and a part of us. So once we rebuild this relationship with anger and no longer fear anger coming into our world or into our environment, and we know why it's there and we can process it there and then in the moment so it doesn't become stuck and chronic in our bodies, then we're whole and complete. And we have full acceptance and empowerment. And that is what I want for us all. So let me know how you go in the comments, and tune in for the next week's episode of Bare and Complete, where we finished this trio of emotion episodes and talk about sadness. I look forward to chatting with you then. Thanks so much. Subscribe to the channel now. Bare and Complete with Lauren Fairchild. 100% acceptance and empowerment for women.